For the first time since 2015, it's playoff time for Detroit City FC as they play host to the Dakota Fusion FC side that has come a long way for tonight's match. The crowd is ready. We are ready. Are you ready? It's coming up next. Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside historic Keyworth Stadium, where tonight the playoffs begin. It's win and go on, or it's lose and go home. Alongside my broadcast partner, John Krieger, my name is Neil Rule. Happy to have you with us wherever you may be watching around the world. But, John, as we talked about, you're living life 90 minutes at a time right now. There is no tomorrow.
Well, that's the nature of playoff action in American sport. It's survive and advance, win or go home. The win streak that got Detroit City FC into the NPSL playoffs, powered by Mitre, well, that's all behind them now. It's 90 minutes, mano a mano, 11 v 11 for the right to head to next weekend's regional competition. Detroit City tonight face a Dakota Fusion club that had to go on a tough win streak of their own to make it out of the North Conference, and so they're coming in on a hot streak as well with some prolific goal scorers, including the reigning NPSL Player of the Week in Jade Johnson. So it's a tough opponent for Detroit City FC, but LaRouge have proven they're up to most tasks. We'll see what happens tonight.
Let's take a look at the playoff bracket, brought to you by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. And John, as we see how the land lays out right in front of us here, the road goes through Ann Arbor. They are the 1 seed. They will play the lowest remaining seed after this initial round of games here tonight.
And you know, that tells you one thing, and that was how tough the Great Lakes Conference was for Detroit City FC this year, because had Detroit City FC come out on top and won their conference, they'd have been the #1 seed. It goes on a points per game system, and AFC Ann Arbor has earned the #1 seed. If you're a casual observer, think the NFL. The other play-in game tonight, the Erie Commodores and the Dayton Dynamo. Depending on results in that game and results in our game tonight, we'll shake out how things go in the regional weekend next weekend. But it'll be AFC Ann Arbor that get the right to play the lowest remaining seed.
Let's take a look at our pre-match report, brought to you by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. And John, the last playoff appearance for Detroit City back in 2015. This fan base is hungry. This organization is hungry for a playoff win.
And they haven't had a playoff win, Neil, since 2013, right here in Detroit at Castech High School in the regional semifinal against AFC Cleveland. That playoff appearance you talk about in 2015, that was a loss in Madison, Wisconsin. And so LaRouge and their faithful are keen to get back on the winning track and advance to next weekend's Final Four.
Let's check out tonight's starting 11, brought to you by Henry Ford Health Systems. And John, Detroit City is taking on some losses, and you see that in this level of play. Guys going back to college, getting called back to their college programs. But one man who's still here and in the starting 11 tonight is Fernando Pena, the goalkeeper.
And he is going to be a huge part of tonight's match for DCFC. He has a bit of a makeshift back line, a couple of losses with players going back to college. Elijah Rice in the forward line gone as well, but you're going to see some DCFC stalwarts. Zach Shewy will be playing for DCFC. Also, Sebi Harris, Mr. Windmill, will come in. But Fernando Pena will have to marshal that back line because it's a little different look than he's had for most of his time with DCFC. They're going to have to form a good partnership between Ben Pierman's back four and the man between the sticks.
Well, we are ready to rock. There's no doubt about that. The playoffs, and we have the opening kick coming up next. Win and go on, lose and go home, and we'll get things going. Live stream coverage of the Detroit City Football Club is brought to you by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. Visit ChevyDetroit.com and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. Welcome back to historic Keyworth Stadium in the 2017 NPSL playoffs, powered by MITRE. Neil Rule, John Krieger back with you. The fans, John, there's a buzz in the building here tonight, as we talked about in the open, as everybody affiliated around the league that's still in action this weekend knows somebody's playing their last 90 minutes of the season here today.
Absolutely, and that's playoff football. And you know what, I had a chance to talk with Jim Robbins, head coach of Dakota Fusion FC, and he said, I went over and had a little interaction with the Northern Guard that you see on your screen. He said, it was interesting, but this is the kind of environment you want to play in. This is why you fight to make the playoffs. You want to be in a stadium like this, in front of fans like this, even if it might be a little rough for your boys with some of the stuff coming out of the stands. This is why you play the game. This is how the game grows in America. And so, yes, Detroit City earned their way in. They have a situation where they have made their case to be a part of the NPSL playoffs, powered by MITRE, and now it is win or go home. Seeding doesn't matter anymore. Home and away at Keyworth is an advantage for DCFC, but really it's all about what you do on the night and for 90 minutes, 11v11. And so these two teams get to put the rest of their season away and just focus on playing each other in a one-off for the right to go to the NPSL Final Four in the region. And so tonight, it's all about what have you done for me lately and who's the best on the evening.
You're absolutely correct in that respect, John. The regular season, that's nice. Those are nice stories. That doesn't matter now. This 90 minutes is what matters the most. Dakota Fusion FC coming in with a 9-win, 5-loss, and interesting no draws this year for Dakota Fusion. 37 goals for, 27 goals against. They score a lot, they give up a lot. Could be a very entertaining up and down match here tonight. It could be.
It will be. I think that Dakota Fusion is going to look to break on the counter. They're coming in tonight playing a 4-2-3-1. We'll get into that as the match goes on, as we get ready and the teams are almost ready to come out. But what that 4-2-3-1 tells us is that they're going to commit 5 at least to trying to shut down the 4-3-3 that City will come out with. They know how potent City's offensive front three are, and they're going to need to help out the center backs. So it's going to be incumbent upon City's back four not to get caught watching the paint dry and allow their poaching striker, Jade Johnson, who's only the reigning National Player of the Week in the league, to get in behind them, beat an offside trap, and go one-on-one against maybe the most important man on the pitch this evening, Fernando Pena.
Jay Johnson, as you talked about, a couple of hat tricks this year, had 17 goals, finished just 1 goal shy of winning the Golden Boot. So that tells you the resume speaks for itself. Jay Johnson is certainly a guy that can put the ball in the back of the net, with the best of them to do it in the NPSL. We're just about ready to roll. Now we go to the walkout with LaRouge, presented by Metro PCS. This week the players are joined by players from Eastside FC.
City Football Club and our title sponsor, Metro Detroit Chevy Dealers, welcome you to tonight's 2017 NPSL Midwest Region Playoffs match. Please welcome Dakota Fusion FC and your Detroit City Football Club. Alongside Detroit City FC for tonight's walkout with LaRouge, presented by Metro PCS, are players from Eastside FC. Thanks to Metro PCS, the official wireless provider of DCFC. And now for tonight's starting lineups, presented by Henry Ford Health System. For Dakota Fusion, in goal, number 0, Stephen Harris. Number 2, Hartrick Tar. Number 4, Fai Musa. Number 7, Suni Balui. Number 11, Osman Burwa. Number 15, Adrian Baklowski. Number 20, Kyle Robbins. Number 22, Zahir Al-Abbas. Number 23, Jade Johnson. Number 24, Damian Robbins. And number 25, Lewis Grant. Head coach of Dakota is Jim Robbins. Your officials for tonight's match are Brandon Artis, Corey Richardson, Michael Nickerson, and Donovan Nucha. And now, for your hometown Detroit City FC's starting 11. Number 97, Tyrone Mondi. Number 23, Zach Shiwi. Number 19, Roddy Green. Number 13, Bakey Goodman. Number 11, Troy Watson. Number 10, Cyrus Sadie. Number 9, Sean Lawson. Number 5, Stephen Carroll. Number 4, Seb Harris. In goal wearing 0, Fernando Pena. And your captain, number 18, David Edwardson. Head coach of Detroit City FC is Ben Pierman. Technical advisor is Klaus DeBoer. Assistant coaches are Jordan Andrews, Josh Rogers, and Brett Mullen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the national anthem led by the Detroit City FC supporters section.
The Northern Guard.
Sing loud! Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what shall travel in the air as the firelights flash gleam, whose brush strikes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watch, words so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red flame, the bombs bursting in air, they proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say
We are just about ready to go. The national anthem, as always, performed by the Northern Guard. Let's take a look at tonight's kickoff weather. It's a beautiful day to ride up to Keyworth, and if you do, and for all those that did, DCFC has you covered with a free bike valet provided by Wheelhouse Detroit, with locations in Hamtramck and downtown Detroit. 81 degrees and partly cloudy. But, John, that's not the story. The humidity is about 4,000% here tonight.
Yeah, and that's going to play and pay dividends for the better conditioned team come the second half, because the humidity, all it is like a giant straw sucking energy out of the legs. Worth noting, had a chance to talk with the folks from Dakota Fusion. They didn't get in until about 2 in the morning by the time they got checked into the hotel and ready to go. So it's a quick turnaround for them. City's boys at home sleeping safely in their beds and getting ready to go. And you know Ben Pierman, who is an assistant coach up at Michigan State University, is someone who is very big on conditioning and also very big on keeping players involved in training and involved in being ready and being fit for action. So on a night like this, you got to give it advantage, you think, to the homestanding City boys, because Ben Pierman will have that club ready to go the full 90.
You just saw on your screen head coach Ben Pierman in his 5th season here for Detroit City. As you said, an assistant coach at Michigan State, was a 3-year starter at Michigan State as a player. All he did was win 2 Big Ten championships, went to 3 NCAA tournaments. So Ben Pierman, synonymous with winning soccer games as a player and as a coach. Jim Robbins, the head coach for Dakota Fusion FC. He's an assistant coach for North Dakota State University women's soccer team. And we are just about ready to go for the opening kickoff, brought to you by Chemical Bank, as the excitement is in the air. Dakota Fusion FC will possess the ball first out of midfield. Their leading goal scorer, Jay Johnson, he's got 17 goals this year. Keep an eye on this guy. He's very dangerous. And we are underway here at historic Keyworth Stadium. Welcome to the 2017 NPSL playoffs, powered by Miter.
Northern Guard shooting off the purple smoke to begin this evening as City comes right down. Mondi over in the box, and our center referee, Brandon Artis, says he went over a little easy and gives the goal kick.
Osman Mabrua getting physical there. And let's see, Tyrone Mondi on the move. And I don't know.
That's an interesting decision to start. I think maybe if Mondi had stayed on his feet, he had a chance to catch up to that ball, and they'll give City the corner instead. By the way, want to send an early hello to the folks watching in Washington, D.C. at the Ivy and Coney the DCFC DC Embassy. We know they've got a watch party going on in our nation's capital, and we're glad to have you tuning in. You can chat with the broadcast using the hashtag WatchCity.
First 15 minutes of play brought to you by Henry Ford Health System, the official sports medicine provider of DCFC. And now the purple smoke that you spoke of occupied the corner kick. It was tough to see, but now the smoke has moved on. And we will move on as well as a jockeying for position begins in the box. Corner served in. And grabbing it is Stephen Harris, the goalkeeper for Dakota Fusion FC. 17 goals in the last 3 matches for Dakota Fusion. They are coming in hot.
They are indeed, and that was a good first claim for Stephen Harris, their keeper. Watched him a little bit during warm-ups. He was having a tough time with some low skidding balls. Everybody who comes in here to play at Keyworth has to get used to the rather interesting pitch here in Hamtramck. We saw Venezia FC, the Italian Serie B side, struggle with it for 90 minutes en route to being beaten 2-0 by the City Boys on Tuesday night. And so Stephen Harris looked a little shaky to start, but that was a good early claim in a crowd, and that can settle a keeper down.
Sean Lawson trying to settle it down. Lawson won the corner kick as that ball went off of Lewis Grant. So Sean Lawson, speaking of hot, 7 goals this season, and they are doing the voting here today at Keyworth for the Black Arrow Award. I would figure Sean Lawson going to get a vote or 2, you would think, in that procedure.
Or 3. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of different votes. The fun part about this city club is that I don't think there's a runaway winner for the Black Arrow Award. I think you have a club that 1 through 11 has played roles.
Mondi's corner sent in. Dangerous opportunity early on, and we will do it again. And I guess going back to that whole Black Arrow discussion, John, it depends on what you're shopping for, I guess. I'm a big goals guy, so I probably would cast my vote for Sean Lawson. But, you know, Cyrus Sadie certainly can never go wrong with that as well. He certainly has made his mark, as he does every season.
You know what? If I had a couple ballots, Cyrus would be on one, probably Sean Lawson on the other, because his scoring was so key as a header into the area there off the corner.
Lakey Goodman settles it down. Here's Tyrone Mundy now working one-on-one. Crosses it off the side of the net. So Detroit City FC, John, with some dangerous possession early on here, 3 minutes plus into this match.
I'm not quite sure what that was from Mighty Mouse, because he comes in. I don't know whether he's having a lash there or trying to cross. If he's shooting and trying to bend that in on the near post, that's a bad decision. If he's trying to cross and provide service, that service needs to be better. Not the best touch from number 97. He's had a lot of great nights in a Rouge shirt this season, and so he gets a pass. But in that position, with players forward, a lot more could have been done by that crow.
Mondi leading the squad in assists this year, the native of South Africa. And when he was put out there on the pitch with Sean Lawson, everything changed for this Detroit City season.
Already we're seeing Jade Johnson playing right up against the City center backs. He is not a striker that tracks back. City's front 3 all can come back and play the ball in midfield or even behind the halfway line. They are integral to restarting or starting a City attack. Jade Johnson, on the other hand, is a big hulking presence, and you will scarcely see him on the defensive side of the halfway line. They're going to play long ball, hoof ball, and he's going to be on the shoulder of Seb Harris and Stephen Carroll and try to beat the offside trap all day. And so the responsibility of the City center backs, as you see, that service going right in, trying to find Jade Johnson. Whether it's in the air, whether it's on the ground, his entire responsibility for the 90 minutes is beat your center back and get into space. City's center backs, on the other hand, really have one job: make sure he doesn't. Jade Johnson beats you, that's not what you want. The City center backs are going to mark Johnson and say somebody else has to put the ball in the back of the net, because they did Dakota Fusion FC with 37 goals on the season. 17 of them came from Johnson, 20 the rest of the team combined. And so it's all about shutting down 23 first and going the other way and letting other players.
How about that move from Sean Lawson, who touches it off the crossbar? What an incredible play from Sean Lawson. How about that skill? And almost made highlight shows across the country with that effort.
Wow. Comes in, one touch off the top of his boot, and that's why it popped up on him. and an inch away from making it 1-0 to the good for Le Rouge.
What an incredible play by Sean Lawson.
Pops it up to beat the center backs, and then puts it off the top of his boot and off the bar. If City can keep getting joy like that, it's going to be a fun night for the homestanding boys from Keyworth.
Now Detroit City with the continued possession. They try to bring it up the right side of the field. Into the middle, there's Cyrus Sadie. He has some room to operate. Sadie's taken down from behind by Sunai Baluli.
That's a rather cynical foul. If that is any indication, as Sadie there comes in from behind, makes no attempt to play the ball, and Baluli takes him down with a flying tackle. Somewhere in England, rugby union teams would love that kind of effort.
Cyrus Shady trying to shake it off. He's a little bit hobbled, getting back to action. I got the feeling it's going to take more than that, though, to shake up Cyrus Sadie for any length of time. There is Cyrus Sadie with the ball, number 10, going to work. Into the middle, looking for Roddy Green. There's Sean Lawson again. But again, John, we see the attempted counterattack for Dakota Fusion, and so far Seb Harris doing a nice job with Jay Johnson.
And so did Stephen Carroll, because when they came forward, Stephen Carroll dropped back. He was going to be the man in front of Johnson. He's a little quicker in the center back role. And Seb Harris came in front and said, I'm going to be the man you have to go over the top to beat. And stepped in and made a good interception. A lot of space given to Cyrus Sadie and given to the Detroit City FC midfield 3. Dakota Fusion sitting back early. And that's one of the reasons you've seen a couple of chips over the top trying to find Sean-Claude Lawson, as the dummy goes through and the flag goes up. It looks as though early the Fusion are hunkering down, climbing in that defensive bunker and saying, come beat us.
That's something that was not unexpected by Ben Pierman. I had a chance to talk with him earlier today before the match. And he made mention, he said, look, we're probably going to have a lot of the possession today. They're going to look to attack through the counter. And in doing that, that's the nature of the beast. You concede possession as Cyrus Sadie comes off temporarily as he's still a bit shaken up.
He's holding the side of his leg there. He went over kind of hard on that tackle from Baluli.
Baluli settles it down. Jakey Goodman over, and Roddy Green will take it away.
That's a nice job by Green to step over the ball, turn the body, and try to turn it forward. But then the back pass leaves something to be desired, and this is trouble.
Here comes the attack and the shot, and Pena makes the save as Jay Johnson. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see 23. He's got 17 goals this year. Has a couple of hat tricks to his credit, and a hat trick against the Twin Stars, and you don't want to see this, Mr. John Krieger, number 23 with some space on the move.
No, you know that Johnson wants to beat you, and you give a back pass, and then Carroll couldn't catch him. If he'd taken him down, City would have been playing with 10 men because Johnson's in. Look, Ben Pierman tells his players to utilize the back pass because he likes to maintain possession and give the midfield 3 the opportunity to start and create service forward. The back pass can't be a thing tonight because Jade Johnson is sitting there waiting to snipe on them. And we've seen a couple of times already where City back passes have not been as crisp as they need to be. And you saw there a back pass that came heavy off the foot, and all of a sudden Johnson stepped in. Because if your back line isn't well formed, if there's a gap there, and your back pass isn't where your man can receive it, trouble happens very quickly. I'd like to see City moving forward and trying to create possession and keep possession by reversing the field as opposed to going back and putting Jay Johnson into the game and making him a factor.
So there's Dave Edwardson in the mix along the far sideline. As we got some tweets coming in with the hashtag #WatchCity, and this is one of my favorites that's come in. Kale Wasserman, our good friend, says, I'm in Rome on my honeymoon. Well, shall be right, but squeezing in a Watch City session. Hashtag Hail Caesar. Hashtag Hail Neil Rule. I don't know about all that, but congratulations to you guys. And Kale, we miss you around. Have missed broadcasting games with you. Certainly had a lot of fun. And congratulations to you two crazy kids.
And Hail Caesar takes on extra importance in Rome.
Well, yeah, when you're in Rome, yeah, that's legit. That makes it legitimate.
Absolutely.
No question about it. You can send your tweets with the hashtag #WatchCity as the opportunity presents itself. I'll get to them.
Does that mean he's trying to throw Dakota Fusion to the Lions?
Maybe. That could be it. Almost 11 minutes in. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. Happy to have you along wherever you may be watching around the world. An extra special hello to those of you watching on FoxSportsDetroit.com, also on Freep.com as well. Thank you all. Another long speculative ball thrown up by Dakota Fusion. And up on the right side, Damian Robbins trying to settle it down.
You're going to see a lot of that tonight. Sam Allardyce from England would love that kind of offense.
And now it's time for our Better Made fun fact. Kyle Bethel scored Detroit City's first ever postseason goal. In 2012, City played AFC Cleveland in the first round of the NPSL playoffs. Bethel buried the ball in the back of the net in the 3rd minute of the game. Roddy Green dribbles one in on frame, and Stephen Harris will make the grab. Green couldn't get everything he wanted on that shot. Kyle Bethel was a standout at Oakland University, part of that team. Made runs in the NCAA tournament as well. So there's certainly been a storied connection with Oakland University and Detroit City FC. Here's Roddy Green again going one-on-one, stepping over, crossing over, still with the possession. Sadie drops it back. Goodman. Edwardson. Put it on the wing out to the left side. There's Zach Shiwe. Looking for Tyrone Mundy, just out of his reach, and the ball played out. It will be a corner kick. So Detroit City FC with some heavy pressure.
Nice job there by the right back for Fusion coming over. Actually, that's the center back, number 11, Osman Mabrua, who slid, knew that there was no player near him to create danger of conceding a penalty, and did what he needed to do. Cleared his line.
So Tyrone Mundy over. He will serve the corner. City's been buzzing at the corners here, and that ball is curled towards the frame, and again, very dangerous. But Tyrone Mundy will trot over to the other corner, and we will do it again. Some heavy pressure from Detroit City.
You know, interesting there. That's the second time that Stephen Harris has aggressively come out to try to claim a corner. City can use that to their advantage because he's 1 for 2 in actually getting his hand on the ball. And if you're going to be aggressive as a keeper, you better darn well get it. Because if you miss, all of a sudden it's incumbent upon your players on the post to try to save your blushes.
Mondy's corner sent in, and Roddy Green puts the boot to it, and it pops up. Sadie settles it down and trickles one in on frame to Stephen Harris again. But the pressure continues in a 0-0 game here, 13.5 minutes in.
And look at Jade Johnson staying there. Stephen Carroll just played him on side. Watch out. He's to your left side, Stephen. But the pitch at Keyworth helping City out there. Interesting that Pena's that far out to keep it in play. And then the scuff into the northern guard, which will earn a Hamtramck welcome from the fans on the other side for Dakota Fusion player.
Another tweet coming in with the hashtag #WatchCity from our good buddy NGS Louisville. So don't forget to mention our friends in Darby County.
That's an inside joke from all week on Twitter, and we'll leave that one well enough alone, except to say that we hope the favorite team of our friend Roger Faulkner has a pretty good season at Pride Park.
Now Fernando Pena with the grab again.
Pena coming out, it looks very composed in his area, directing center backs, and you've already seen he's pointing out to Carroll and Harris where Jade Johnson is going to make sure that they don't lose sight of where 23 is on the pitch.
And that ball goes off of Watson out of play.
The fun part about playing against a poaching striker like Johnson is that in the attacking third for City, City's going to have a man advantage all the way up, really. And they're going to be able to try to find the window in what is so far a very parked bus.
Next 15 minutes of play brought to you by Fago, the official pop of Detroit City FC. As always, this is a Rock and Rye friendly booth. Now Cyrus Sadie not very friendly with that possession as he tried to take it away. The ball trickled just over the sideline and out of play. Cyrus Sadie, of course, had that highlight reel setup in the match against Venezia. That play was going around social media, racking up some views. Cyrus Sadie going to work. Goodman taken down from behind. That's Multiple times now we've seen Dakota Fusion use that tactic with the takedown from behind. Damian Robbins, the guilty party this time.
Well, even worse, that's an elbow to the middle of the back. You watch it, it comes, ooh, that's an elbow to the neck. And on a different night, that kind of rough play might have earned a little piece of yellow coming out of the official's pocket. So far, a rather loose standard of play being applied by our man in green in the middle.
No question about that. Brandon Artis, the head referee today. Corey Richardson, the assistant. Michael Nickerson, the assistant. Donovan Nucha is the fourth official.
Worth noting that in the NPSL playoffs, all three of those officials are out-of-state officials. The fourth official, Donovan Nucha, we see in the Great Lakes Conference.
And there's Tyrone Mondi with the left foot. He takes a tumble over the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers ad. And Mondi now with a smile. Let's take another look at it. Some good athleticism.
Yeah, and I want to look at this here. You know what? Okay, I was about to get on Tyrone Mondi about not turning that back in because he didn't really have the opportunity to score from there. But he was trying to do what he could. That ball was very close to the byline, and he hadn't caught up enough with it. And so he was just trying to get a boot on it and see where it went. And so that's why it went over. So really not Tyrone's fault. The ball just ran on Cyrus a little bit and played it too far for Mondi there.
Osman Mabrua sends another long speculative ball up ahead, but this time Dakota Fusion will find the end of it. Now running up into the play.
That's a lot of space.
And that's through, and Pena makes a diving stop.
And well done, Zach Shiwi, because for as good as that stop was by Fernando Pena, take a look at this. They come in, that's too much space. And a center back blew a tire. Pena makes the save, but Shiwi never stopped on the play because there was a Dakota Fusion winger making a run toward the ball, and Shiwi got there first and allows things to reset for the Fusion throw.
Shiwi did well also, John, not to concede a corner there, but instead of throw it. So
that's a veteran play.
There's a shot that's deflected, and it finds the back of the net. Zuhir Alabase, I believe, got the goal. He had the shot anyway.
I want to take a look at this deflection.
It deflected off somebody, though, and changed directions on Pena. There's not really much he can do.
Going to be very interested to see this replay. Comes in, uses the screener. Not sure how much a deflection was there. That's if there's a deflection, that's a slight deflection. And I saw from Fernando Pena's reaction after that goal went in, he's mad at himself, which speaks to me that he thinks he should have had that.
So Zuhir Alabase will get credit for the goal. It looked to me like it was deflected. Couldn't quite see who did deflect it, but none of that matters. It's 1-0 Dakota Fusion FC here in the 20th minute, and now we will have a booking, I believe. And there you see some more physical play. That was the man in the screen, Kyle Robbins, the guilty party. So Dakota Fusion, John, very physical here through the first 20 minutes of action.
Yeah, and they're being allowed to play physical, which is an advantage for them. They are a more physical team if you look out there. City built for speed. The Fusion built for beatings with some of the size in there in the box.
That ball headed up and jumping up and making the grab is Stephen Harris. Seb Harris was in the vicinity. Stephen Harris with an outlet on the throw. Nice toss. Sunai Baluli.
The fact of the matter is, on that Dakota Fusion goal, it happened because of perhaps a slight deflection, and it happened off of the throw-in. But the throw-in happened because after playing really resolute defense for the first 18 minutes, City's back line and really their midfield three switched off and allowed the Fusion to get forward and allowed way too much space on the diving shot that Pena made the first save on before Shiwi cleared for the throw. Sometimes you see a goal and you say, well, somebody broke down on that play. And the fact of the matter is, that goal doesn't happen if the Fusion aren't allowed to advance on the counter and roam in an awful lot of space just outside the D to cut that ball back across and force the diving save from Pena. And so that's how things set up against a counter-attacking team, and City need to realize that And now, because they trail, City are forced just to chase the game a little bit, and that opens up more opportunities for counters. If I'm Ben Pierman, there's only 20 minutes gone in this match. I tell my guys, play like it's 0-0 and try to go out and get the first goal of the game. Keep playing your system. We don't have to chase outright yet. And don't get rattled that you're down a goal. You've come back from a goal down before here at Keyworth several times.
Here's Troy Watson with it, serving it into the box. Not really much cracking on that service. Tyrone Mondi over to settle it down, but we'll see it go off his leg and out of play. Let's take a look at our Grand Circus player profile today. Number 0, the goalkeeper, Fernando Pena. Competed in the 2011 U.S. U17 World Cup. Started 3 games, allowing just 2 goals in 298 minutes during the 2011 CONCACAF U17 Championship. Has 2 brothers and 3 sisters. That tells me time in the bathroom is a very valuable commodity growing up for Fernando Pena.
That's assuming he got any.
If he got any at all, that's right. Fernando Pena was incredible in the win Tuesday over Venezia. And John, he's somebody that we've talked about. You watch his fundamentals, you watch what he does on that terms and what he's able to do. He just has a different look than most other keepers in this league do.
There's a swagger about it. Look, the best keepers in the world go in and say, this is my area, you're intruding upon it, and I'm going to claim it. And that's what he does.
Well, he was transferred from Akron to Coastal Carolina. And Akron, everybody knows, a national soccer powerhouse. He was an all-MAC first-team performer as a freshman, was the highest rated goalie recruit in the country. He certainly has tons of talent, and we've seen it here for Detroit City FC.
One disturbing thing for City right now that I don't like, if you're taking a look at keeping your wits about you, is that the City players, as we talked about the physical play here, they come in.
Mondi in the middle, takes a strike and sends it over the wall. Couldn't get everything that he wanted out.
Make that 2 things I'm not thrilled with City. First of all, is that City, when they are muscled off the ball, the standard of play has been established. It's going to be a physical game. And City players, Roddy Green's done it, Tyrone Mondi has done it. They turn around and they're appealing to the referee for calls. That can either work for you, but in most cases it works against you. Because especially at this level, you see referees start to develop or assign you a reputation as seeking calls rather than legitimately being fouled. And that can hurt you if you are actually fouled. You got to let the referee make his decisions. He's going to make his decision, and you're going to have to live with it. And that's the way, that is what being a footballer is, because circling the ref, that happens so much on the continent, doesn't happen here. The second thing I don't like is that City are taking an awful lot of lashes at goal in the area. The composure we've seen all season has turned into, I have the ball on my boot in the area, I'm either going to try and get too cute with it, or I'm going to take a lash and hope it happens. Don't play on hope, play on what got you here. And that is playing as a team. And we haven't seen an awful lot of team here in the last 9 minutes.
Here comes Cyrus Sadie, sends it through. Sean Lawson is onside. Lawson with the shot, finds the back of the net. Sean Lawson levels it at 1.
That is team football. Thank you. We talk about it, they do it. And it started with a beauty ball through the middle. And Lawson with the composure to wait and wait and wait until Harris made his move. Look at him. Wait, wait, wait. Wait for the keeper to overcommit toward that post and cut it back across the body. That's a striker's goal. But credit to the ball through the middle. Cyrus Sadie was in there and sent a feathery touch to a place where only Jean-Claude Lawson, who managed to stay onside, could get it. As Dakota Fusion tries to catch Fernando Pena napping off the kickoff and sends the goal kick down. That's how you play. Get in there, keep running, and Jean-Claude Lawson doesn't miss.
Sean Lawson, the former standout from Oakland University, strikes again. 8 goals on the season for the former Golden Grizzly. His father Samuel played for the Jamaican national team. Sean Lawson played for the Jamaican U17 national team as well. Here comes another opportunity for the Dakota Fusion. This ball finally played out, and Sean Lawson will settle it down in midfield.
All right, something for the team talk at halftime for City. Dakota Fusion keeps trying to catch you napping off of restarts. They bombed the ball deep off of the kickoff, the restart from the goal, conceded the goal kick, but if it had gone down, they sent Jade Johnson running, and they're on a throw-in. Just get it, throw it in, and keep it going. There is a tendency sometimes, especially among young footballers, when you see a ball go out to touch, you assume that teams are going to set up a throw. Sometimes they're going to get it right back in and get playing because they know they're just going to scramble. From the moment the opposition has the ball anywhere near them, you have to play as though they're in on goal and you have to stop them. And City will need to watch that for the next, say, 65 minutes.
So foul called behind the play. Detroit City with the restart. Seb Harris moves the ball up. They'll try the left side. Tyrone Mundy back towards the middle. And here's Cyrus Sadie with some space again. Always dangerous in these positions. Goodman looks for Watson. Watson gets on the end. Watson's cross goes all the way through. And it's played out. It'll be a corner coming up for Detroit City.
And he gets a thumbs up from Lawson, who had crossed over and gone to the far side, because that was a great ball. And I don't think that Jean-Claude Lawson thought that Watson was going to be able to get into a position to make that cross, and he stopped his run. Had he kept his run going, it's an easy tap in for two, and Lawson's got a brace. So the thumbs up was there for Watson.
Mundy on the corner again, and this one is dangerous as it's loose. And Stephen Harris, John, having some difficulties with these corners.
Yeah, the curse that he has with a large and physical team is that they screen his view when they're in there on the post. And he had to palm that one over. City buzzing here again. You got to convert these chances into goals. Higher line now.
Mundy surveying the scene. Serves it. And this one is grabbed by Stephen Harris. More tweets with the hashtag WatchCity. Andy and SDCA's checking in from San Diego, California. Appreciate you watching over on the other side of the country. Sticky Flapjack says, what a through ball from Cyrus Sadie. Hashtag WatchCity.
Want to say a special hello to some folks who can't be here tonight that are very instrumental to what makes City City. Gene, who's one of the founders of the Northern Guard. Kilted Ken, who's another one of the founders of the greatest sports supporter section in all of American sport, I would say. Certainly pound for pound. They couldn't be here. Playoffs and schedules affect us all. They're both working this evening, and so they can't be with us. We know they're watching on the stream. The drums don't sound the same without you boys, but we're trying to get through that. And also want to say hello to Ken's three absolutely wonderful kids, Finley, Declan, and B, who chatted with us after the match, and they tweeted in, asked their mom to tweet in to let us know they were watching, and we're glad. Sing loud from home.
We are level at 1 here in the 30th minute. There's the captain tonight, Dave Edwardson. Now there's some disagreements as to where the ball should be positioned.
Nice job by Brandon Artis to back that up.
Things getting a little bit testy here. 30 minutes in with everything on the line. The 2017 NPSL playoffs powered by Miter. Tensions are running high, as you would imagine. You win, you move on. You lose, you go home. Now some more physicality, a two-hand shove from Zach Sheely. But this is the market, John, that's been created by the way the game's been officiated so far. This is what we've allowed.
Yeah, and the problem with that, Neil, is that it's going to create an environment for inconsistency later, because the players aren't going to know what's a foul and what isn't. And all of a sudden, I think you're going to see a player get a booking for something he didn't think was a foul or wasn't called earlier. Now, I'm not saying you have to call football tight. We don't want to turn it into a non-contact sport. But you have to watch out for, at least, if you're going to set the standard, keep the standard.
Ball served into the box, not the best effort on the setup. 50-50 ball headed up in the air.
Hoof it out of there. Just clear it.
That's what the doctor ordered, and that's what was done. And here comes Cyrus Sadie with a head of steam.
Watch Lawson.
City looking to counter. That ball touched out of play by Damian Robbins. Next 30 minutes of play brought to you by Phoenix House, the official building partner of Detroit City FC.
Interesting to watch City's center backs right now. What was a very confident start has turned into a little more of a gut check moment for them. A little Joey had against them. Johnson hasn't been a factor, but other people have. And so it's an interesting look at the way they set up. As the respect from touchline to touchline comes in, as the Fusion on the counter have been able to set some things up without Jade Johnson.
Throwing awarded to Dakota. As Adrian Poklowski will come over to toss it in. We're level at 1. Sean Lawson and an equalizer a few moments ago on a tremendous pass by Cyrus Sadie on the through ball. The tension, every minute that ticks off the clock, the tension goes higher and higher. You can feel it in the building. There's no doubt about it.
It is rather palpable. Even the Northern Guard seems a bit tense right now. Normally they're all song and chant, and there's this buzz of uncertainty, especially because City had to come back and equalize. You get the feeling that if City could take the lead, the roof would come off this place.
At our call on Twitter says, let's go Detroit City. Checking in from Tucson, Arizona. Sean Lawson is fouled. That was Hartrick Tarr. Tarr got a game-winning goal against Minneapolis City earlier this year. This is a Dakota Fusion team that will score a lot of goals. They got 37 of them on the year, but they've conceded 27.
And that tells you a little bit of the difference between the North Conference and the Great Lakes Conference in terms of what you're able to do in terms of accumulating points. Nice job there.
Dave Edwardson with some good moves. Finds Roddy Green, who turns and burns.
And has his shirt tugged.
Now Tyrone Mondi in some space. Sean Lawson. A lot of respect for Sean Lawson on the ball. Green shot is blocked down. Faiz Musa.
And that was one of those speculative balls. A lot of things you can do to set that up, taking a lash from that far out.
Sadie in space. Magical move by Cyrus Sadie, and the penalty has been awarded.
That's a good decision. And that is Cyrus Sadie being fouled all game. They know Cyrus doesn't go down easy because he's fought through a lot of jostling. So when Cyrus goes down, it means something. He comes in.
How about this move?
Works around his defender, and a tackle from behind for number 7, Sunai Baluli.
So here we go. 35th minute. Seb Harris, the former Oakland Golden Grizzly, will deliver the penalty.
I love Sebi Harris claiming this.
Stephen Harris, the keeper. The only line between Dakota Fusion and a 2-1 deficit. Harris lines it up. Can Seb deliver?
He does!
Of course! Seb Harris, 2-1 City.
And the windmill comes back again. That's a veteran there. You know, I talked with Ben Pierman about the losses from the City squad that come with playing with a lot of college kids. And he said, we got a lot of veterans that have stuck around. And Seb Harris is one of those veterans. And he comes in and cool as you like, down the middle. He knows the keeper's gonna make a move, and he puts it where the keeper just left.
Seb Harris making that now world famous windmill. That's become his thing. 2-1 City with the lead. Seb Harris delivering. The veteran. Recently became a father in the offseason.
Someday, he'll tell his kids a story. Here's where Daddy put his team 2-1 up in the playoffs. And I find it a pretty good indication of what a player like Seb Harris means in the dressing room, that on a pitch where you have Jean-Claude Lawson, Tyrone Mundy, and Roddy Green, the man stepping up to take the pen is a center back, and he didn't miss.
Roger Faulkner tweets into us. Says Darby won 2-0 today. Need a DCFC daily double.
You just didn't want to say Kaiserslautern.
No, I didn't. But they did. They did win 2-0.
They did indeed. And we're glad Roger's watching.
Yep. And I know Roger wants the DCFC daily double, no question about it.
So would we, by the way.
Absolutely. Ball swung out wide to the right side. Dave Edwardson comes back to track it and take it away.
I know Roger's probably excited about the new developments with the EFL, their new streaming platform. If during the city offseason you happen to follow an English League club, now Championship clubs, League One clubs, League Two clubs all get their matches streamed just like the Premier League. Football growing and American interest couldn't possibly be higher, as evidenced by some of the most loyal supporters in sports, those of Le Rouge.
Long ball sent up Mondi, unable to catch up with that one. But again, Detroit City FC, Sean Lawson really broke the ice in this game. And you could see it, John. You could feel it in the stadium. You and I had talked about it. There was a tension that was building, and that's the nature of the beast in playoff soccer, especially when you fall behind early on. That clock, the ticks seem to be moved quicker and quicker. The pressure mounts and mounts, but Sean Lawson, once he leveled, you've really seen Detroit City even out and play to a more even keel.
Yeah, they've started to play like a team again. Instead of trying to be the hero that got the first goal or the equalizer, they've stepped up and played like they can play. Now they have to keep doing that. Ben Pierman was very frank in saying, look, the pressure's all on us tonight. We're the 4 seed. We're the home team. We have more points in the season than these guys. We're supposed to win this at home. And so it's on us. And his kids looked like they were playing like they knew the pressure was on them. And so now they have a lead. You can't switch off because they're going to continue. Dakota Fusion are going to continue to play Route 1 hoofball football and try to catch Stephen Carroll and Sebi Harris napping. That isn't going to change. And you can play long balls all game, and they can bounce away and be cleared away, and that's all well and good. The one time you fall asleep and that long ball connects, you're in trouble. And so it is all about Detroit City continuing as another ball is hoofed forward. There's the header on, and City does a nice job of not getting too cute. Cyrus Sadie's the one player perhaps on the pitch I'm going to allow to turn back like that and coming forward and continuing to play like that.
And Cyrus Sadie fouled again, and Poklowski, you can't do that.
No.
It's flat out interference.
Credit to Brandon Artis. He let the standard go for a while. He said, you know what, I don't want to be the one to decide this game, but he has seen what other referees have willfully ignored all season, which is that Cyrus Sadie gets flat abused in the middle of the pitch because teams know how important he is as that central midfielder to turning City's attack forward. And so they'll put an elbow in or they'll put that little shoulder challenge in hopes that every little bump and nick will knock Cyrus off his game. But the problem is that Dakota is stepping over that line. And well done to Brandon Artis for coming in. The penalty was well and truly awarded. And Poklowski, basically, as he was being given the booking, he pointed at him and he pointed at 3 different spots to say, we've played 39 minutes and you've gone in on that guy 2 or 3 times and others, and here's your booking. Deal with that for the rest of the match.
Stephen Carroll. This is college soccer for Davenport. Had 3 goals for them last year. Sends it out to the left side. Detroit City looking to go to work. They lead it 2-1. We're in the 41st minute. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. It's been an entertaining game so far. We figured it might. These are 2 squads that can certainly find the back of the net. We've had 3 tallies here under 40 minutes. Cyrus Sadie, maybe the first time we've ever seen the ball taken away from Cyrus this year.
And he gets it right back because he didn't stop.
Yep, and there he is. Sadie steps through. It's like a yo-yo. He's got the string attached to his foot, and he does what he wants out there.
Somewhere there's in Italy, there's a Venezia center back, a right back, that is watching this and saying, "Brother, I feel your pain."
I know what you're going through. And there's another foul called against Dakota Fusion FC. So this will be a dangerous restart situation. We'll take another look at it.
Comes in. Mondi coming across, and just a little setting up. The screen would have been very good on an NBA floor, not on a soccer pitch. He got the elbows up in the chest and still committed the foul.
So here's Mondi with it. Mondi surveys the scene, sends it in with some pace right into the chest of Stephen Harris.
And that curved too much on him. He was going for Sebi Harris, who was making a run. He was 2 steps behind that ball. And if he had found Sebi before that ball bent, it might have been 3-1.
Middle of the field, Dave Edwards under some pressure, creates a turnover. Mondi sends it out wide. Can Shiwi catch up with it? No, he cannot.
Caught up with it just enough to send it further down the pitch. And that's just a little too heavy a touch. That's a little bit of adrenaline combined with the Keyworth pick.
Christine checks in on Twitter. Hello, friends. Is watching from Omaha, Nebraska in between studying for midterms but missing working with my DCFC media stats crew. We miss you too. Good luck out there in Nebraska. And the Seb Harris windmill is very popular on the social media right now. Lots of people talking about that.
Got a shot.
I got a feeling that's going to take on a life of its own. If Detroit City is able to hold on to this victory, you may see a lot more windmill signs and paraphernalia going around.
And you know what? It's well deserved. He's been he's truly been a servant of the club, and to see him get that kind of admiration from the supporters and that kind of publicity is well worth it and well deserved.
Seb Harris, former pro player over in England, as we found out during the last broadcast, makes an appearance in FIFA 2011.
I don't know what game system that would have been on, but I almost want to go pick one up, see if I can play with Sebi.
Absolutely. I wonder if he could get him to do the windmill in the game.
The coding probably wasn't that good back then. What is good, though, is that City, after a couple of speculative balls here, are settling back down and playing the passing football they know how to play. As Lakey Goodman gets bumped off a ball rather unceremoniously. Look, there's that long hoof again, and nice job by Sebi Harris to step in front. Jade Johnson is eking out territory, and he always stays between the center backs. You never want to be, if you're that central poaching striker, your zone of attack is between the center backs. You never want to be to the right or to the left of both center backs. It gives them the advantage to come in and try to beat you. He's staying in between the 2 center backs because he's hoping for miscommunication.
Stephen Harris again makes another grab. Well, Stephen Harris has been under heavy pressure here for 44 minutes and 10 seconds. Here is Stephen Harris, putting the right boot to it.
City taking that 1-goal lead right now as we head into stoppage time. Nice job there to step in front, shut down the passing lane. City's back 4, tightly bunched at the moment, forcing Dakota Fusion back. Problem is, you force back like that, you're going to watch for that hoof over the top. They want a ball down the right wing, they get one, and a nice job by Troy Watson to step in front.
Troy Watson has been very solid here today.
Long
Seb Harris
throw.
again heads it out, but again, Seb Harris kind of creating his own no-fly zone back there.
You see that quick restart there? And see how focused Seb Harris was? That was a play. That was designed for a guy that was coming from all the way from the other side of the pitch to be on the end of that throw. And Seb Harris didn't let him get there despite being a good 6 inches shorter, or at least 4 inches shorter than the guy he was defending. There's a shirt tug on Lawson.
Puts on the brakes and spins. Here's Cyrus Sadie with space again. Musa really conceding ground to Sadie. Mondi Left side. On the move. Going against 3 defenders and just flat out turned it over.
You talk about the space that's being conceded to Cyrus Sadie. That's a concession that you're not as fast as Cyrus Sadie. It is the same thing as a cornerback in football. The more of a cushion you give the receiver, the more of an admission that you can be beaten by a move by that receiver. And so when Musa plays off, as Sadie sends that in, and I don't think that's necessarily where he wanted that to be. The further that a midfielder plays off Cyrus, that's more of an admission that one move could beat them, and they're trying to guard against Sadie turning the afterburner on.
Stephen Harris with goal sent up the long ball looking for Jay Johnson. So everybody on the Dakota Fusion has one target in mind up top.
Yeah, that's all this is. You ever play, football video games against that kid in the college dorms that selects the Hail Mary on every play?
Right.
That's exactly what this is. That's all it is. It's Hail Mary after Hail Mary after Hail Mary after Hail Mary, and the one time you connect because a defensive back loses or a center back blows a tire, then you're in on goal, and in a one-goal game that matters.
Sunai Baluli goes down and gets the call as we are in stoppage time here. 2-1. Detroit City FC with the lead. They fell behind 1-0. Storm back with a couple of goals about 10 minutes apart. And that is where we stand. Did not get the word how much stoppage time they expect to have here in the first half. But here comes the restart now for the Dakota Fusion. Damian Robbins stands over it, as does Zahir Alabase. Alabase now on his own with that captain's armband. He will put the right boot to it.
There's a free run in front. That was a set piece, and it ran too far. That entire play was designed for Kyle Robbins.
And the whistle sounds, and 1 half in the books. Detroit City FC on a goal from Sean Lawson and a penalty conversion by Seb Harris has the 2-1 lead through 45 minutes of play. There is the man of the hour right now for Detroit City, Seb Harris.
Sebi with a great first half. I wasn't quite sure whether his placement at center back and having to go for close to a full 90 would be something that he was ready for. Through the first 45, he gets A+ marks on how he's handled Jay Johnson. He's been a veteran presence. He's teamed well with Fernando Pena. It's been a great, great first half from the City back line. The only switch off they had cost them because it set up the throw that set up the only Dakota Fusion goal.
And as always, our sideline reporter Lindsey Pearson standing by with head coach Ben Pierman. Lindsey, take it away.
Thanks, Neil. Coach, how'd you see your team respond after that early Dakota goal?
Yeah, I mean, we actually played really well to start. We could have maybe had a penalty 30 seconds in. We hit the crossbar a couple minutes later. I mean, we had 6 corner kicks in the first 10 minutes. So the approach was there. Our desire to score was there. The desire to defend is nowhere to be found. So that's something we're going to have to fix. But I can't remember when they scored, maybe 20 minutes in or so. We responded well, obviously. Cyrus doing his thing, setting up Sean and then drawing the penalty. But we just got to be sharper on some things. I don't think we're getting enough out of our outside backs and wings a little bit. They're letting us have it, so we got to make sure we defend the counters a little bit. We're getting stretched. We got to make the game more compact. It's easier said than done, but we got 45 minutes to fix some stuff.
Thanks, Coach. Okay. Neil, back to you.
Thank you very much, Lindsey. So there's the words from the man himself, Ben Pierman. His side has a 2-1 lead over Dakota Fusion FC here in the opening round of the MPSL playoffs, powered by Miter. So 2-1 the score. City 45 minutes away from moving on. They have the lead over the Dakota Fusion. So we will take our halftime break as well, come back, get you the second half of play. Detroit City with a 2-1 lead. We'll be right back.
During the week, I sit at a desk.
On the weekends, I'm a DIY warrior, thanks to my 2016 Chevy Silverado. With its high-strength steel frame, my Silverado can take on any project. Add in its towing power and ability to keep me connected, my Silverado is the perfect tool for all my jobs.
Lease a 2017 Silverado 1LT 4-wheel drive All-Star Edition for just $219 a month for 36 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
My passion is architecture. I don't want to sit around passively studying. I need to create. In our architecture studios at Lawrence Tech, we collaborate with students, faculty, and professionals from around the world. And from day one, we design using the same industry standard software that architecture firms use. I really feel like I'm designing my own future here. Lawrence Tech, possible is everything.
We're a 4-year-old company, but we've just moved to the city about a year ago, and we renovated an old stamping plant here in Detroit. And we're focused, and our mission is to create and design super efficient homes and urban infill buildings using the methodology of Passive House, and package that into a pre-built shell that's made here in Detroit. And we're allowing to do different creative designs, again, for single-family urban infills made in the shop in Detroit here. Everything we take is from design to rough frame to putting the layers on in the shop. So we actually create the wall panels here in Detroit in our shop. We load them up on that fancy trailer, and then we ship them out to the site like we did today. We discovered DCFC was about early or late last year, and we didn't have our building squared away yet last year. So really wanted to come on strong with you guys this year, and just really be a supporter of the team. With your new move, that's fantastic, and be able to help any way we can, which we thought was kind of a creative use, is just to have a way to have some outside. So we're excited to be here with your new stadium this year. So today we're putting together the prefab shell. It's consisting of wall panels, roof panels that we made prefab in the shop. And so everything's pre-insulated. It comes with some siding and a weather-tight layer. So that's what we're working on today to get that wrapped up and weather-tight today. Some of the science we've baked into these panels, into the roof design and details, is extra thickness for extra insulation, which allows us to have a higher R value and something that we call thermal bridge-free detailing. So everything is going to be what we call super insulated and airtight, and we're able to do that on these walls and roof panels that we've pre-built in the shop. It's going to be good. It's been a couple weeks here preparing. We're really excited. All the guys are actually pretty excited. I saw them taking snapshots with their phones and stuff, but it'll feel good to see when it's all wrapped up, it's weather tight, people can go buy their merchandise.
You guys are ready! Oh, you guys are ready!
Ticket, please.
Of course, I got it right here.
There's nothing there.
It's loading. It takes a little bit. Just give me like a minute, guys.
Here's my ticket. It's starting. Mine works.
Bob realized his network coverage was a no-show. That's why he switched to Metro PCS, because he figured out he gets a network that's more reliable than ever, covering 99% of people in the U.S. Switch now and get 2 lines for only $50 period, plus 2 free Samsung Galaxy phones. Metro PCS, wireless.
I want to blend my business education and athletic skills and open my own fitness center. At Lawrence Tech, I'm learning how to research, present, and to really think like an entrepreneur. And I love the small college feel here, where there's always something to do. We have men's and women's intercollegiate sports and dozens of student organizations. I can't wait to apply what I'm learning here in the real world. Lawrence Tech, possible is everything.
DTE Energy is committed to giving back. So DTE employees volunteer thousands of hours, working in over 450 communities, with more than 280 charities across Michigan. Why? Because we don't just deliver energy, we want to empower people in the communities where we live and serve. DTE Energy, know your own power.
I love helping people get what they need. So when you order with ClickList from Kroger, I make sure you get everything you ask for, just the way you like it.
Whole organic milk? Done.
2 ripe bananas and 1 green.
And today's fresh bread? Got it.
With ClickList, I'm your personal shopper, so you can trust me to pick out exactly what you want, bagged and ready for when you arrive.
Try ClickList at a Kroger near you. Order online, pick up curbside at store with same-day pickup now available. Visit Kroger.com/ClickList.
During the week, I sit at a desk. On the weekends, I'm a DIY warrior, thanks to my 2016 Chevy Silverado. With its high-strength steel frame, my Silverado can take on any project. Add in its towing power and ability to keep me connected, my Silverado is the perfect tool for all my jobs.
Lease a 2017 Silverado 1LT 4-wheel drive All-Star Edition for just $219 a month for 36 months. Put it in D and see why Chevy drives the Motor City.
My passion is architecture. I don't want to sit around passively studying. I need to create. In our architecture studios at Lawrence Tech, we collaborate with students, faculty, and professionals from around the world. And from day one, we design using the same industry standard software that architecture firms use. I really feel like I'm designing my own future here. Lawrence Tech, possible is everything.
We're a 4-year-old company, but we've just moved to the city about a year ago, and we renovated an old stamping plant here in Detroit. And we're focused, and our mission is to create and design super efficient homes and urban infill buildings using the methodology of Passive House, and package that into a pre-built shell that's made here in Detroit. And we're allowing to do different creative designs, again, for single-family urban infills made in the shop in Detroit here. Everything we take is from design to rough frame to putting the layers on in the shop. So we actually create the wall panels here in Detroit in our shop. We load them up on that fancy trailer, and then we ship them out to the site like we did today. We discovered DCFC was about earlier or late last year, and we didn't have our building squared away yet last year. So really wanted to come on strong with you guys this year, and just really be a supporter of the team. With your new move, that's fantastic, and be able to help any way we can, which we thought was kind of a creative use, is just to have a way to have some outside. So we're excited to be here with your new stadium this year. So today we're putting together the prefab shell. It's consisting of wall panels, roof panels that we made prefab in the shop. And so everything's pre-insulated. It comes with some siding and a weather-tight layer. So that's what we're working on today to get that wrapped up and weather-tight today. Some of the science we've baked into these panels, into the roof design and details, is extra thickness for extra insulation, which allows us to have a higher R value and something that we call thermal bridge-free detailing. So everything is going to be what we call super insulated and airtight, and we're able to do that on these walls and roof panels that we've pre-built in the shop. It's going to be good. It's been a couple weeks here preparing. We're really excited. All the guys are actually pretty excited. I saw them taking snapshots with their phones and stuff, but it'll feel good to see when it's all wrapped up, it's weather tight, people can go buy their merchandise.
Welcome back inside historic Keyworth Stadium. A good first 45 minutes of play. Detroit City FC with the 2-1 lead over Dakota Fusion Football Club. And John, you and I were talking during the halftime break, and look, it's rightfully so, Sebi Harris getting a lot of credit right now, but Sebi Harris will play a very important part in terms of what happens in this second half. We'll get you more on that in just a couple seconds, but now let's take a look. Our Detroit City FC halftime report brought to you by the good folks at Metro PCS. And John, this going off these numbers, this is a deserved scoreline right now. You look at the domination in terms of shots and shots on goal and corner. Detroit City certainly has had the better of it in the first 45, and therefore a justified 2-1 lead.
You're absolutely right, but it's also a very good indication and a fair stat line to the two systems the teams are playing. City playing a much more forward, a much more attacking kind of system, and so they have 12 shots and 8 on target. The Dakota Fusion, they're playing a counterattack system. They're playing that long hoofball kind of football, and they have 2 shots on target. The thing to note, though, of those 2 shots, 1 has found the back of the net. For City, 8 on goal, 2 have found the back of the net. And so it's all about realizing if you are City, yes, you are going to have the advantage in possession, shots, and hopefully goals, but you can't switch off defensively.
Take a look at the highlights from the first 45 minutes of play. A half that at times got chippy, at times got very physical. But make no mistake, Detroit City FC with tons of opportunities as we see. But as you said, John, Dakota Fusion, There was the one opportunity they had. The other one did find the back of the net, as you said. But there, you see the physicality. There's the goal from Dakota Fusion FC, and that's what put them on the board first.
The most important men on the pitch right now, Fernando Pena for Detroit City, the City back four, including the center backs Carroll and Sebi Harris, and frankly, the man in the middle, Brandon Artis. Because if he calls and tightens up that standard and the fouls start to accumulate for Fusion, they will be on the back foot because they can't be as aggressive. For as long as he lets them play, they can go on and keep playing physically. Be interesting to see how the second half is officiated.
There was the windmill from Seb Harris. That got the Northern Guard up. Got everybody into it. A huge crowd on hand. It'll be interesting to see when we get the attendance numbers. This may make a run at a record here tonight, as people have absolutely packed this place. They've rolled out. Big time, it's the playoffs.
It's also worth noting, and I think this is where we send our thank you out to everyone who purchased a ticket or is watching tonight. Unless you had a gold card, the advanced premium season ticket plan here, this was not included in a season ticket. So the majority of these people are paying customers. They paid for their season tickets, and they've come back and brought friends for the playoffs. Sometimes you have an extra game like this because it's not included in the season ticket plan. You have maybe a smaller crowd, not here for City. It's one of the biggest crowds we've ever seen at Keyword Stadium. I can't wait to see the number. And I am heartened by the fact that the City of Detroit has come out to support the club they love and put their money where their mouth is to back Le Rouge.
Yeah, there's no question about it. You look over there in the food and merchandising area. That place is on jam right now as everybody getting the food and the drinks and having themselves a good old time here, taking in some NPSL playoff soccer. Detroit City FC, of course, their first berth in the playoffs since 2015. Don't have a playoff win since 2013, John. And everybody is in heavy anticipation for the second 45 minutes.
You know, I would argue, though, they haven't had a team like this since that 2013 team. The 2015 team got into the playoffs, but they don't have this team's heart, and they don't have this team's spirit, and they don't have this team's togetherness. Keep in mind, this is a City team that leads 2-1 tonight and is doing so without some pretty key cogs. Zach Bach as a center back, gone. Max Todd, gone. Elijah Rice, gone. A lot of Kervin Kenton not on the squad because of being called back to college and being a part of that.
Spencer Glass.
And Spencer Glass at Indiana. And just Owen Hoskins, who couldn't be with us tonight. And so a lot of the first choice 11 aren't wearing a Rouge shirt this evening. And the pieces that Ben Pierman has been able to slot in have been just as effective. And here come the City boys, led by that man, Cyrus Sadie, who is a tank in midfield. And he has been the subject of yet another onslaught of physicality because people know how important he is, and Cyrus just shrugs him off and has broken a couple of ankles, including going in and earning the penalty that put City up 2-1.
Cyrus Sadie, we talk about him every broadcast, but he always garners mention because of what he does on the pitch. He's an absolute magician. As I've said, it's been so much fun to call him in action. And just the opportunity to get to watch that man play the game of soccer is something fun to do.
And here's the other part of it, Neil. This man didn't get paid.
Nope.
All right? Nobody on this City squad is getting paid. NCAA rules say if you have one college kid on the roster, nobody can get paid, or it becomes a pro team and they lose their eligibility. And so Cyrus Sadie lives in Lansing, thank you very much, drives to Southfield to train, works, and still finds ways to man up and put on the Rouge shirt. He is a warrior of the truest sense of the word for City, and he is getting a lot of accolades, and he plays to play. He plays for the passion of the game, and he is showing the world what he can do in a City shirt when it's not his primary job. Imagine what it would be if Cyrus could spend all of his time focusing on football.
Honestly, Boxy tweets at us with a hashtag WatchCity. Says, continuing our study break in East Lansing. Come on, boys. We've had a lot of study breaks here today. We had some people check in from Portland, Oregon as well on the study action. But let's study the second 45 minutes of play. 2-1, City with the lead, 45 minutes away from moving on in the NPSL playoffs.
The important thing, not to be the negative to your positive, is that they play like they're 45 minutes from going home. Because that's how you move on, is to not get content and sit back on the lead, especially against a counter-attacking team.
The next 15 minutes of action brought to you by Metro PCS, the official wireless provider of Detroit City FC. see. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. Happy to have you along wherever you're watching. Extra special hello to those of you watching on FoxSportsDetroit.com, also on Freep.com.
Here's a hoof in. Look at Johnson in there with a chip.
Seth Harris recovers and plays it out. And John, this is going to be the battle we watch for the next 44 minutes and stoppage
Here
time.
comes Mighty Mouse. Look at him go.
Tyrone Mundy on the left side, stepping through and turning.
I think that's
Goodman.
I think that's the first time I've ever seen a ball check up on the Keyworth pitch.
Goodman to the middle. Lawson moves. Sends it out to Roddy Green. Steps through the shot and finds it back in the net. Roddy Green, 3-1 City. How about that look from Sean Lawson, and Roddy Green deposits it.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Neil. That play was not made by Roddy Green. It was made by Sean Lawson, because in the first half when City was pressing, Lawson would have turned and taken a lash on goal. Instead, he saw that the right back had left Roddy Green all alone, and he put it into space, and Roddy, with a better shooting angle, said, "Dunk you very much." 3-1 City.
Roddy Green tucked that perfectly inside that left post as the smoke pours out of the Northern Guard supporter section. City now with some breathing room and a 3-1 lead here in the 48th minute.
And you know what, Neil? They have to play like it's 1-1. You can't play like you have any lead whatsoever. Keep the pressure on. You have your foot on their necks. Step down till they're done and get another one. That's how you win playoff games. You know what that goal was, Neil? That was a trust the process goal. You and I were talking with Klaus de Boer and with the assistant coaches on Ben Kierman's staff after they started this season as they come down, and I'll let you come in with a dummy.
Cyrus Sadie steps into the shot and sends it over top of the frame.
You know, he's earned the right to take that lash. He had Tyrone Mundy making a run down the left side, and the better play would have been to play that back through because Mighty Mouse had a head of steam, but I can't get mad at Cyrus on that kind of little speculative lash. As City started the season with no wins, 2 draws, and a loss, the message in training was trust the process. Play like you can. Play like the team we brought you in to be. And for a while there in the first half, the process wasn't being trusted. City was taking speculative, hopeful attempts on goal. And all 3 of their goals tonight have been when they've refocused and trusted each other and trusted the process and done their part. Because Sean Lawson and Cyrus Sadie on the first goal that Lawson deposited, and then Lawson on the goal that Roddy Green scored, sacrificed themselves and personal glory for the team and the better shot and the better play. And that's how you win. That's when you trust the process. That's when you score with a team and a system like Ben Pierman runs.
Becky Goodman puts it off the back of the referee, Brandon Artis. But City able to recover the possession. They lead 3-1. And they're looking for more, John Krieger. And it looks like the Sharks are circling in the water for City.
And they need one more. You know, you're sitting there up 3-1 against a counterattacking team, and you see there's a little sloppy touch. And if Dave Edwardson hadn't come back and saved blushes, all of a sudden, it's Ben Eastwell coming in, steaming forward. He's a halftime sub, by the way, Ben Eastwell coming in. And he had Jade Johnson running just off the center back. No switch-offs here. There's still 40 minutes of football left.
Jack Hartley ready to come into the game for the Dakota Fusion as well. At the next opportunity he gets. Got to empty out the whole chamber. If you're Jim Robbins and the coach of the Dakota Fusion, Sean Lawson stepping through wide to the left side. That ball misstruck, it looked like, by Zach Shewy. And now the substitution coming for the Dakota Fusion.
Neil, there are some fullbacks that you are thrilled with taking a lash at goal from forward position. There are some you would prefer pass. Zach Shewy, for all he is one I would prefer that he pass to a midfielder. But he thought he had a lane, and sometimes you see a shooting lane and you're going to go ahead and take it.
Now the substitution is complete. Jack Hartley comes in replacing Lewis Grant. 3-1 City with the lead. They got a goal early on here in the second half. They've got a 2-goal cushion here in the 51st minute. Of course, we will keep an eye on what happens with the Erie and Dayton game. And now it's time for our weekly trivia presented by Fago. This week's question: who was the first MVP for Detroit City FC back in 2012? Who was the first MVP for DCFC back in 2012? That's today's weekly trivia question, brought to you by the good folks at Fago. We'll get you the answer in a few minutes. The guys in the truck are asking me right now for my guess. I have the card in front of me, so I always know these questions because I always have the answer.
And I'm afraid to guess because my guessing record this year has just not been good.
Not good is one way to say it. Cyrus Sadie curls that one across towards the back post. Roddy Green tracks it down and keeps it in. Yeah, that would be one way to say what your guessing record is.
Yeah, you know those
below 500.
I was talking about a fullback you don't necessarily want to shoot in Zach Sheewey. I'm a color commentator and an analyst you don't want guessing. That's just that is my role in life, is to be wrong on the Fago trivia question.
Cyrus Sadie sends it back. Stephen Carroll. Now this is the flip side of the coin, John, for Dakota Fusion. They play that counter-attack game, and that is their strength. But if you're a countering team, it's not good for business to be down by multiple goals because you just don't have the ball.
No. And so eventually they're going to have to press. And already I see number 22, Zahir Alabasi, who plays behind Jade Johnson, creeping up a little further forward. He is going to try to get either Stephen Carroll or Seb Harris to mark him. And where it's going to be important is for Dave Edwardson to step up and be that marker for number 22.
Here comes Monday through a crowd. And Tyrone Monday rips the shot. Unable to find the back of the twine. But still, continued possession for Detroit City. How about this work?
Look at that. Uses the screener, turns, and just pops it off the top of his boot. He wanted to strike that with the side of his foot, swung, and missed.
Tyrone Monday has been a shot of life for this Detroit City FC squad, leading the team in assists. He's been magical at times this year as well.
Look at Cyrus Sadie coming in and forcing Alabasi to play that ball away. Alabasi wanted to turn that upfield and try to send a long ball for Jade Johnson. And instead, we ran at him and said, either you're going to get rid of this or I'm going to take it from you. And forced Alabasi to play it sideways, and City gets possession, and all of a sudden Sadie is onside, but a nice job to come back and track back by Osman Mabrua to deflect it away from Cyrus Sadie.
So again, Cyrus Sadie. He's just been a problem. The kid, as the kids would say, he's been a problem for Dakota Fusion here tonight. He's been a problem for a lot of people throughout his time. There's Stephen Carroll with it.
See, that kind of back pass will give Ben Pierman indigestion. you have just sent that forward, and you are turning that into a foot race. And Jade Johnson conceded that to Stephen Carroll. He took a look at that and said, I don't want to run at that. But if he had asked the question, Stephen might have been just a bit in a spot of bother there. If you're going to back pass, you better connect. Because when you make it speculative like that, you invite an awful lot of heartache and pill-popping indigestion to happen on the touchline for Dakota.
We have an update from the Erie and Dayton game. That game sitting scoreless right now in the 80th minute. If Erie wins, Detroit City FC would play Ann Arbor next weekend. If Dayton wins, Detroit City FC would play Duluth. And of course, they're still going through the process to see where the site will be. So we do not know as of right now where those matches would take place. But we do know the teams that will be involved.
I think what you meant to say, Neil, was the winner of this game would play Ann Arbor if
as
the Erie Commodores wins. I don't do as it stands.
Well, the hex standings.
I understand live table, not in the playoffs. There are still 35 minutes left to be played.
And as it stands, that would be the story. The ball played to the middle. There's Dave Edwardson, the captain. Let's take a look at the upcoming games brought to you by our friends at Strategic Staffing Solutions. The yearly friendly against Windsor coming up. That'll be August 2nd at 7:30 right here at Keyworth Stadium.
Does that count as an international friendly? By the way, the Midwest Region playoffs, if City are involved and if they are selected to host, would be right here at Keyworth Stadium. Ticket information would be released in due course. City Gold card holders, as always, would be granted admission. That was part of that package. All the other tickets would be on a per game basis. But there are still 33 minutes and change to play. And so we won't talk about it. I'm going to pull Jim Moore and start going playoff.
There's Roddy Green on the left side. Green with some space. Detroit City looking for what potentially could be a fatal strike and a fourth goal.
What an unselfish play there by Roddy Green. He didn't get the chip he wanted, but he saw Cyrus Sadie and Sean Lawson making a run. And he was just trying to chip it and give him a tap in.
And you saw on the screen the body language from Jay Johnson. It's not encouraging if you're a Dakota Fusion FC fan. He's grown frustrated and having to deal with Seb Harris all evening long. And the nature of the offensive attack for Dakota Fusion, they have just simply not been able to connect on those long lashes sent in towards Jay Johnson. Just hasn't been there tonight, Mr. Krieger.
No, not at all. You know, I talked with Jim Robbins, the head coach of Dakota Fusion FC, and he said, well, I've had a chance to watch City on film as we watch a nice ball
sent up towards Green, and Green overruns it and takes a spill on the turf.
That's the pitch of Keyworth. There's not a whole lot for the cleats to grab in there, and he was trying to turn away, and just the cleat gave way on the well-worn surface here at Keyworth. You know, Jim Robbins was talking about how much he had spent time watching Detroit City on film in preparation for this match. He should have watched the film of Detroit City versus FC Indiana, which is the only other team to really truly employ a similar kind of system against City this year. And that was a poaching striker up front, and the 10 men behind him do the rest of the ball. So you have a situation where City knows how to shut people down.
Now it's time to get you the answer to our weekly trivia presented by Fago. This question this week: who was the first MVP for Detroit City FC back in 2012? There were co-winners. That man, one of the best beards in sports, Josh Rogers, and Keith Loff were dual MVPs back in 2012, the first ever in Detroit City FC history. So thank you to the fine people at Fago for bringing you the trivia this week. And NGS Hogs tweeted at us and said, was it Josh Rogers? Well, Hogs, you were half correct. So Josh Rogers and Keith Loff won the Black Arrow MVP, the first ever edition of it in 2012.
To be fair, NGS Louisville also got that answer in there, so a couple of heads-up City faithful getting Josh Rogers. I would have been hopelessly wrong on both guesses, which is why I didn't offer it.
59th minute, ready to give way to the 60th minute. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. Dakota Fusion FC had a 1-0 lead. Detroit City FC has stormed back to lead this one 3-1. Another substitution coming. George Gauld will come into the game for Dakota. Dakota got in late last night, a long trip from just outside of Fargo, North Dakota. Coming out of the game, Faiz Musa. More substitutions for Dakota Fusion. Detroit City FC is not subbed as of yet.
No, they're going to ride with the horses that brung them. And that's going to be interesting because you know the center backs will continue to be tested. One thing I've noticed here, City's starting to chip the ball forward early a little more, and that is an indication of two things. One, their forward three have found some joy against the back 5 or 6 of Dakota Fusion, and they're trying to play them in onside, but also a lot easier and a lot less energy required to loft one forward off the boot in the air than it is to run it through midfield. You wonder if some City boys might be getting just a touch leggy here. And so it's a situation, you know, we try to connect things with American sport every now and again. Good running for Green.
And the offside flag, however, was up. Next 15 minutes of play brought to you by Rip It, the official energy drink of Detroit City FC.
If you want to connect that with sports, it's kind of like you got a good starting pitcher. You're not quite sure how deep your bullpen is at the moment because they've had some work. And so that's kind of where Ben Pierman is at. That's why you haven't seen a whole lot of subs, because his first 11 is a little more, has a little more pronounced edge over the 7 subs that City carry into this match tonight. So you're trying to get as much out of that first 11 as you can before bringing on some fresh legs.
Here comes Mondi like a house of fire giving chase. Again, long ball played up. Again, Seb Harris equal to the task. Wash, rinse, repeat.
Ben Prochniak getting ready to come on for Dakota Fusion. He'll be sub number 4.
And as I talked about earlier, they're not cell phone minutes. They don't carry over.
Nope.
Use every available opportunity, chance, personnel, every bit of personnel you have. There is no tomorrow.
Nice dummy there through.
Here comes Watson up the right side. Watson puts the brakes on, sends it in. Here's Sadie with some space. Sadie. Sean Lawson settles it down. Lawson in some tight quarters, still with the possession. Lawson worked off the ball.
And that was actually a good clean challenge. That was numerical advantage, and you just slowly muscle the man off the ball with a good shoulder challenge.
We got another Twitter check-in with the hashtag WatchCity from Sarah Alexis Miller. Says, I'm giving up, going back to studying for the next 45 minutes. Can't take my eyes away from Watch City here in Portland. I think everybody's beginning to share that sentiment.
We wouldn't want you studying either. Look, we know you're studious, but
it's Saturday.
Stick with us.
It's Saturday, John. It's time to get turned.
That's right.
Saturday night.
Saturday nights tonight for cardio.
Yeah, that's right.
Right here at Keyworth.
Right here at Keyworth. Roddy Green sends it through. Sadie looking to make a run.
You got to wonder how much petrol he's got left in the tank. Put forth a yeoman's effort all night. Continues to be Mr. Everything for City in midfield. That's a interesting chip, but Lawson gets on the end of it.
Perfectly placed by Cyrus Sadie. Lawson has it taken away. Sadie up to challenge. But again, John, Dakota Fusion just cannot get any possession together to speak of.
Yet. And that's why they keep moving forward. But now you take a look at it, and if you get a shot there at midfield, you see Ben Eastwell. He's up there with Jade Johnson. He was just kind of coming up there in a little decoy roll, seeing if he could draw a center back with him. The center backs didn't bite. They knew that he was a defender.
Edwardson with it. Left side of the field. Edwardson, the cross sent in. That's headed out. Rather easily the Dakota Fusion back line. But here's the story, John. Detroit City FC with that possession. Seb Harris swings it out wide to the left. There's just too much open space for Detroit City to work in. Here comes Zach Shiwi with some of that open space, directing some traffic on his own. Lawson's cross settled down, and the shot launched over top of the frame by Bakey Goodman.
Oh, he had an extra second. He had the opportunity, if he wanted it, to settle that down, try to poke it through. And I think he heard the footsteps and wasn't fully settled. Played it down. He tried it on the high bounce. He could have waited for that ball to come down, and when it's already headed upward and you catch it on the top of your boot, it's going to be a moonshot.
Fernando Pena picks it up and rolls it out. 65th minute, 3-1, Detroit City FC with the lead. Neil Rule, John Krieger with you. The winner moves on. Erie and Dayton, last update we had, are scoreless in the 80th minute. If Erie wins and this scoreline holds, Detroit City would play Ann Arbor. If Dayton wins and this scoreline holds, Detroit City would play Duluth. And that is where we stand. The site still to be determined. That ball goes across the line. And really, this throw-in, John, will represent the first possession I can really think of off the top of my head that Dakota's had in quite a while in the final third of the field.
This is true, but remember the last time they had a throw in that deep, they got a goal. And so City need to not switch off. The back line needs to stay compact. They need to hunker down and defend cleanly.
Kyle Robbins comes out. Emron Baluli comes in for Dakota Fusion.
And he's the one on the run from the throw-in. Watch him come around. But Cyrus Sadie just gets the ball in the air and allows some defense to expand. And a nice job by Edwardson there to go up and sacrifice the body and further back the ball up.
And Pena came off the line initially and then lost control of it.
Good job by Brandon Artis. That's a great job by Brandon Artis, because what happened was Pena came out to claim. He was fouled by the Fusion player who went in looking for the contact. Look at this. Pena comes out, a little bit of hesitation. He's got this ball. And then immediately it's the Fusion player who dives in and then flops down, hoping to get some kind of call in the box for a penalty. Brandon Artis, who was at an angle where it might have been easy to give that foul to the attacking player, knew enough to know that Pena had claimed that and that any contact was being instituted by the defender, by the attacker rather.
We have an update in the Erie-Dayton game. Dayton now with a 1-0 lead. And we have another booking issued as Baluli walks away in disgust. And let's take another look at this one.
Well, if there's any disgust, it should be at him. He stuck his leg out.
Yeah.
That is a professional foul, because the City player is in on goal if you don't stick your leg out and trip him by the knee. That's a booking every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And you're going to walk away in disgust. If there's any disgust, it ought to be at the fact that you got beat, because that's an easy booking for the official.
So Dayton with that 1-0 lead over Erie. They're in the 90th minute. Again, if these scores hold in both places, Detroit City FC would play Duluth in the next round of the playoffs. Ann Arbor will be involved on the other side.
And you know what? I kind of like that if you're Detroit City. I'd rather see AFC Ann Arbor for all the Fago in the world on Championship Saturday, and have another team that has to travel in from the other side of Lake Michigan to go up against in the semifinal. That having been said, it's also worth noting Duluth is the champion of the North Conference, and they have well and truly earned the second seed. So be careful what you wish for, because Duluth, yet again, another division champion. Ooh, that's a play from Cyrus he'd like to have back.
Abase with it.
And some over pursuit there by Seb Harris, but then he comes back and wins the ball.
It's not over pursuit when you take it away, right?
I'll tell you what, that's called I got beat and I'm going to go back and refocus in on the play.
I'm getting the ball, and if you're not careful, I'll break out another windmill.
And I'll tell you what, not only did he keep on that and go and win the ball, he did so without being reckless.
Andy with the shot, the cross, and Roddy Green on the other end of it heads it over top of the bar. But that play didn't look like it was going to turn into that when it started.
No, but Tyrone Mondi, we know he can put a ball in on a dime, and he bends it right in. Had the vision to see Green making the run, and instead of trying to cut in on his own, just put a beautiful bending ball in. There's another player like that, and I'm not saying Tyrone Mondi is in his class, but Paul Scholes used to be able to put a ball on a dime like that from some distance. And that's the kind of thing, if you have a forward player that can also get out wide and put that kind of ball through, it's a great asset.
He's on the move, trying to be on the other end of that through ball. He was looking to go off to the races. And again, some frustration on the faces as you see Benjamin Eastwell, the Norwich, England native, upset with the proceedings so far. It's not good body language right now from Dakota Fusion FC. 70th minute, 3-1, Detroit City with the lead. And ball sent through. Jay Johnson has 17 goals this year, a couple of hat tricks for Dakota Fusion FC, but he has not been a factor here tonight. Roddy Green, however, has been a factor. Green unable to settle that down, but now gets it back. There's Stephen Carroll with it for Detroit City. And Dave Edwardson blows a tire, but then Seb Harris closes the door. Eastwell. Sheely steps through. And again, Dakota Fusion just unable to put possession together, and there you see some more of the bad body language. And John, they're frustrated, they're down 3-1, and their season may be slipping away.
Yeah, Jay Johnson wants the ball, and he is upset with his teammates' inability to get it to him. But that's really not their fault, because he is a striker that doesn't track back, so he doesn't help his own cause. And this is exactly like we saw City against FC Indiana. Against a lone striker up top, City puts the clamps on in the passing lanes, and that striker is left on an island against two pretty good center backs.
Long ball played ahead. But again, valuable time. Continues to tick off the clock. We're in the 72nd minute. Detroit City FC trying to survive and advance. Tyrone Mondi knocks that pass down. Cyrus Sadie will pressure. That ball's chipped out of play.
First City sub of the night coming on is number 28, Tyler Morman. He will come on for Roddy Green.
So Roddy Green gets a good hand, and deservedly so. Tyler Morman comes in. Morman, the game-winning goal against Glentoran. Seb Harris settles it down and cleans it out.
I'll tell you what, Seb Harris, I knew he was good, and he has earned an awful lot of respect from me tonight. More so than what he had even during the Lansing United match.
Now Dakota Fusion FC again here as we cross into the 73rd minute.
Look at Morman stepping right in. Bit of a lazy deflection from City, and Morman, the fresh legs. He's aware and he pounces on it.
Cyrus Sadie having some fun in the midfield with it. Mickey Goodman swings it out. Stephen Carroll. Lawson. Lawson taken down and the foul is called. And now some more extracurriculars. Let's get you caught up with the attendance for tonight. Brought to you by Rip It Energy. 6,672 packed here tonight in Keyworth Stadium.
6,672 when the majority of them had to buy a ticket to be here because it wasn't in their season ticket plan for a 4th division side made up of mostly college kids. You want to tell me soccer in Detroit isn't alive and well?
Looks good tonight, no question about it. It looks good on a lot of nights here in historic Keyworth Stadium. 74th minute.
Ooh, that's a reckless challenge. Don't go to ground like that. That's after the bookings that have been given out tonight. You're going to get a talking to from the official, and that's exactly what he's telling you. Is you are a lucky lad. I didn't pull a card out of my pocket. At least I didn't see one come out on Troy Watson. That is the most reckless challenge we've seen from a City player tonight. You can't lose your head along that back line.
Here's Zach Shewy. Shewy was a MAC All Tournament performer during his time at Bowling Green State. We'll send it back to Fernando Pena. And you've just gotten an update. It is a final. Dayton has won over Erie FC. Dayton wins it 1-0. So if the scoreline holds here, Detroit City would play Duluth next week. But they're able to salt away the final 16 minutes plus stoppage time here.
And so now it goes down to the bid process of the participating teams. We still don't know where the site of next week's regional finals and semifinals would be, as Zach Shewy runs on a ball and is able to catch up to it as it checks up on the Keyworth turf.
Morman goes wide to Sadie. Cyrus Sadie stepping through.
And that is a penalty. He gave it.
Been awarded. Sean Lawson taken down.
That is a beautiful decision by Brandon Artis. 9 officials out of 10, because the ball isn't there and there's not an intent on goal, don't give that decision. And Brandon Artis standing up with an awful lot of guts in the green shirt, because the laws of the game say a foul in the area is a penalty. And that would have certainly been a foul outside the area. The ball's gone through, and boom. No real play on goal, and he clears him out.
Can Sean Lawson deliver what could be a knockout blow to Dakota Fusion? here in the 76th minute of a 3-1 game.
I've never heard this place this quiet.
Lawson stands over it. Can he do it? The save is made. Lawson with the rebound, and he finds it back of the net. Sean Lawson. 4-1 City.
If at first you don't succeed, give it to Lawson again. The save was great by Stephen Harris, and Lawson doesn't quit, and neither will Detroit City FC season. We'll see you next week.
Save made by Harris, but Lawson sticks to it and buries another one.
And you know who's at fault for that goal, Neil? Plain and simple, number 11, Osman Mabrua, the center back, whose job on a save like that is to bust in and clear it out. And he stopped as Pena gets taken out cynically and rolls a couple of extra times for effect, but still. Mabrua needed to go in and clear that out.
And another card issued.
And it should be. Pena, I think, might have caught one in either the gut or no, he caught it in the lower part of his body.
And right now the team doctors will come out onto the field. Team doctors brought to you by Henry Ford Health Systems. Fernando Pena, it's not looking good right now.
No, he's in some pain. He got taken out.
And his ankle not moving. Of course, Henry Ford Health is an official sports medicine provider of Detroit City FC, but this is not a good scene for Fernando Pena.
Well, I'll tell you this. It appears that the Dakota Fusion, as this long ball comes in, Pena comes out to claim. He took a height. He just got taken out. So it appears that the Dakota Fusion, realizing that they won't beat City, have decided they want to beat City using the other meaning of the word. And if I'm Ben Pierman, I make 5 changes. And Cyrus Sadie comes off, and Bakey Goodman comes off, and your attacking players come off, and you get ready for next week, because I trust the back line not to blow a 3-goal lead in 12 minutes. You know, sorry if that's a jinx, but you know, you got to say the way City are playing. But if those kind of cynical challenges are what you're going to see the rest of the way, you got to prepare your boys.
Benjamin Eastwell will be shown the door with the red card.
They got a red, and that is absolutely the correct decision. And if I'm Ben, and he's going to do it, look at that, a couple of City subs getting ready to come in. How much you want to bet one of them is for Cyrus Sadie? Because Dakota
Tyler.
Fusion have stepped up the physicality, and away you go, son.
Mauricio Castorino will come in. Jordan Tyler will come in. Dakota Fusion, however, down to 10 men here in the 79th minute. And they're already trailing 4-1.
If City needs to just play the ball out, get the subs on, turnover possession, that's fine. But we want to get some guys off the pitch right now.
Seb Harris sends it into Lawson, who steps over. Lawson taken down.
That's going to be another card.
And that is a yellow card indeed. They'll say it was outside the box, just outside the box.
And here comes Jordan Tyler coming on, and Mauricio Castorino. Referee didn't see the 4th official indicating the sub. Hopefully they do before we play the corner. Because this is physicality bordering on it's physicality born out of frustration. And it's really not good for the game, frankly.
Sean Lawson and Cyrus Sadie will be coming off. And what a night for those two guys you see on your screen. Sean Lawson
and a standing O.
Magic. Cyrus Sadie assisting magic. And a standing ovation, as you said, for Cyrus Sadie and Sean Lawson.
And Ben Pierman followed my advice. Here's a put ball through.
That was in the back of the net, Seb Harris. The cakes are on the griddle here in Hamtramck. 5-1 City.
Make a statement, lads. They're coming. The rest of the NPSL better get ready.
Detroit City FC will be moving on.
Yeah, I think we can say that now.
5-1 here in the 81st minute. Seb Harris closes the door. And now it's just a countdown. This 15 minutes of play presented by Strategic Staffing Solutions, sponsor of the S3 Beer Garden here at Keyworth Stadium and the DCFC International Series. And Seb Harris with the brace here today, John.
Couple of braces. And Sebi Harris playing like the servant of the club that he is. I wondered if he could go for the full 90, and he gets a brace. Well done, number 4.
Somewhere I think Golden Grizzlies head coach Eric Pogue is watching this game and smiling. Golden Grizzlies, the ex-Golden Grizzlies, having a party here tonight. 2 for Lawson, 2 for Seb Harris. Detroit City FC is off to the races.
You know, there's a chant sung by our faithful supporters, the Northern Guard, that has the line in it, there's going to be a party in Detroit, nobody's sleeping tonight. I think that chant has never rung truer than it does right now. Keyworth Stadium is going to get its first city home playoff win. City is in the discussion to host next week's regionals. We hope their bid is accepted. We want to see you all back here. We think it would be great for the game because there are 6,600 plus here tonight. And next week I think would be even more fun.
No question about that. Here comes Detroit City again. Castorino. Morman. And Zach Shiwi. Castorino taken down. No card this time, just a simple foul call, but again, a restart coming. And if you're Detroit City FC, you just want this 8 minutes plus stoppage time to just go away and move on. 5-1, the result's not in question. Stephen Harris has had a rough go of it here tonight at Keyworth Stadium. Ball hurled in on frame. Castorino forcing Harris to make a good save.
Wow. City continue to buzz. And that was a low skidding ball, and Stephen Harris almost got a looky what I found kind of saved there. I'm not sure how in tune he was.
Ball put up into the box. Bodies flying everywhere, and that shot goes off the crossbar. And the follow sent over top of the frame as well. Detroit City FC.
Neil, if this was a boxing match, they'd stop it. One of the fighters isn't punching back.
That is the case. The ball trickles over the line, so Stephen Carroll will throw it in. Detroit City FC will be playing Duluth next. By nature of Dayton's 1-0 win over Erie.
You know, let's spare a moment here for Ben Pierman, whose process and whose coaching is a large part of what this city team has become. And that was never more evident than what I'm seeing down on the touchline right now. His team leads by 4 goals with 6 minutes left, and he's still out there pulling his guys forward. And the other thing that he did is he saw Dakota continue to try to cynically foul and push and draw a reaction, was to tell his kids to settle down. He was making the settle down motion because he knows that any red card or any kind of booking accumulates, and it would cause city players to be unavailable for next weekend. And so he's just telling his boys to settle down and get out of this one. Ben Pierman over talking with the 4th official, Donovan Nucha. He's not done coaching. There's 5 minutes left. He's not seeing this out. He's over there still trying to get his boys to work. And it's that kind of commitment. It starts with the full 90 from the manager, and it's been responded to with a full 90 on the pitch. There he is in Donovan
Nooch's ear. That's the sign of a manager who wants to bring success to this club, to this city, and to these supporters.
86th minute, 5-1 Detroit City with the lead. Crowd here tonight at Keyworth Stadium in a partying kind of mood, and they should be. Detroit City will be moving on in the NPSL playoffs, powered by Miter. Duluth will be the next opponent. Ball sent up towards Fernando. Pena will escort it out, and the goal kick will be coming. We're 4 minutes plus stoppage time away.
And across the way, here comes the smoke, and there's a nice new tradition. The cell phone lights coming on 85th minute. You know, the funny part about that is, it wasn't started by the Northern Guard. It's started by a couple of hometown kids on the family side of the stadium who come because they play on this pitch when it turns into a pickup ground in the summer. They started doing it. Folks in the Northern Guard picked up on it, and it's become a new city tradition. That there, those cell phone lights, encapsulate what Detroit City FC is in a nutshell. Grown from the community and continuing to evolve.
Castorino sends that shot over top of the bar. But it's all a moot point now. There's a good look.
And there it is. Keyworth lights up in the 85th, coming through the smoke. I don't think there's a better picture in American sport than that.
Here comes Jordan Tyler. The offside flag is not up, but instead Stephen Harris will make the grab.
That's Jordan knowing that the Keyworth pitch was going to take that ball away from him.
And really, John, the Dakota Fusion, we knew what their game plan was going to be coming in. Everybody did. They just were not able to execute it. Jay Johnson, 17 goals this year, was a non-factor here this evening.
And that's because the city midfield three shut him off. Anytime you come at City with a 4-2-3-1, you really need two up front. Because anytime you can tell the City center backs you got one guy to focus on and that's it, they will. And they did. And Stephen Carroll and Seb Harris were impenetrable tonight for most of the 90.
Ball sent into the box. And really, Seb Harris, the brace is going to get all the headlines, no doubt about it. Converting the penalty, also getting the finishing goal. But what he did defensively here tonight, to me, stands out as much as anything else he did offensively. He was incredible defensively here tonight.
Yeah, his man of the match performance, by the way. The job he did defensively is what should earn him man of the match honor, because he shut down someone who has 17 goals and was one goal shy of the league's golden boot. Goals get headlines, but Ben Pierman will be thrilled with the defensive effort of his two center backs. That's what he lives for.
Seb Harris with it.
Let the Twitter banter begin already for next week's NPSL
Oh, it's going to be a
playoff.
lot of fun. There's no question about it. As we talked about, we'll see where everything's going to take place. We'll find that out in short order. We do not know as of now. There's a battle at midfield. Jordan Tyler will be hit with the foul. But Seb Harris, Sean Lawson, and Cyrus Sadie, the story here tonight. Detroit City 5-1 over Dakota Fusion FC. We're in the 90th minute.
It should also be noted, by the way, we're going to talk about Sadie, we talk about Carroll and Lawson, but also the other two in that midfield three, Bakey Goodman for City and Dave Edwardson, the captain. Because Dave Edwardson, the captain, 3 minutes of extra time coming up.
So 3 minutes of extra time. And that will be it. So 180 seconds or thereabouts left in Dakota Fusion's season, as it will come to a close. But it certainly has been a successful campaign for Dakota Fusion FC. With the playoff appearance, the Onside flag goes up. And that's really the first opportunity Jay Johnson's had with the ball all evening long. Jordan Tyler on the move. Will track it down in the corner. And one-on-one towards the goal line. Tyler still has it. The cross sent over. And Jeff Atkins will run it down.
Just deflected away, or it would have been 6-1. While we have a moment here as we run out the clock, Neil, let's talk about next week's opponent, Dayton Dynamo. They are familiar with Detroit City FC, used to share a division with Le Rouge. And we're up here with
we
playing in a, go ahead.
They play Duluth next week.
Or check it, I should say, Duluth, yes. Dayton Dynamo, the other playoff team.
They
so
will play Ann Arbor, yep.
City familiar with.
There's a right-footed blast that goes over top of the cage.
So Duluth, the only opponent City unfamiliar with, is what I was trying to say there. Familiar with AFC Ann Arbor, Dayton Dynamo came up here to Keyworth and drew City 3-3 in the team's final preseason friendly. City actually had a 2-goal lead and surrendered it.
Escarino sends the corner, hurling through the night sky. The ball goes through the keeper's hands, but Stephen Harris able to recover. Punts it down the field to the other keeper, Fernando Pena. Pena will stand there with it. Final moments of play. Pena picks it up. Brua came over to challenge. There can't be much left now. 5-1 the score. It's a party tonight here in Hamtramck.
Neil, I don't think I've ever been prouder of this City team than I am tonight and what they're able to do. Remember, we've talked about the attrition from this squad. A lot of first-choice players back with their college programs. Ben Pierman said all season, I'm rotating my squad during the regular season so that when it counts, they're ready. And they were ready tonight.
There's Dave Edwardson on the move. Ball played out of bounds. Any moment, the whistle will come.
The Northern Guard looked like a horse in the starting gate waiting for somebody to ring the bell. They're ready.
And that is the final whistle. Detroit City FC is moving on. A playoff win over the Dakota Fusion by the score of 5-1.
All season, Ben Pierman said, trust the process, believe in what I'm doing, buy into my system, good things will happen. The journey's a long way from over, but the process won tonight. And City, on a night when a more physical team could have gotten them off the game, instead turned in what might be their best performance against American opposition this season.
Detroit City FC, 180 minutes away from a championship. We don't know where the location will be next weekend, but we do know Detroit City FC will be involved. And they will play Duluth, and that we know.
That's a wonderful thing, and the Dayton Dynamo will play AFC Ann Arbor, and the winners will meet in the championship match. We would love to be back here at Keyworth and streaming with you, and we hope that happens.
And we'll see how everything shakes itself out. But Seb Harris, the story here tonight. A couple of goals for Sebi, and some tremendous defensive efforts as well against one of the leading goal scorers in all the MPSL, Jay Johnson. But Seb Harris shut the door here this evening. And coming up, our sideline reporter, Lindsay Pearson, and she is standing by with head coach Ben Pierman. Lindsay.
Neil, coach, a wild second half there. What'd you like from your guys tonight?
I think we just wore them down in the second half. They had, their trip was 20 hours. They were in a tough spot. They were a good opponent, but I think we wore them down in the second half. Obviously, Roddy scoring a nice team goal there to start it 90 seconds into the second half, open things up. I think once that went in, it was ours to lose. You know, we got to stop making mistakes, putting ourselves behind the 8 ball. You know, Ann Arbor, last time we played them, we lost we were playing great. One mistake, next thing you know, the game turns on its head. So we just got to be better. But you know, this is amazing. These guys are the best in the world. You know, so we got to push forward. We'll figure out our opponent. Maybe it's Duluth, and then figure out the location. But it doesn't matter. A couple days off. We got to focus on what we do well and just put our best foot forward next weekend.
And the game will be against Duluth. What's key heading into that next weekend?
I mean, I don't know them at all, so we'll have to research them. Klaus does a great job. We'll do what we can. But we got to do what we do best. Should get a couple players back, Bach and Omar, from some suspensions and some stuff. So we'll be a little bit deeper. But, you know, our guys played really tough tonight. We just got to keep doing what we do, and we got to keep doing it as best as we can.
Thanks, Coach. And guys, I'm also joined by Seb Harris, man of the match tonight. Seb, 2 goals.
Tell me about it.
How good does this one feel?
It's great. You know, this is what we needed. We came flying in the whole season. Took a slow start, and then all of a sudden we just clicked, and we just took off from there.
And talk about your defensive performance tonight. You did get the goals, but you were great on the defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, we just all came together, and it was last-ditch defending. You know, that's what you do as a defender. You stop them from scoring. They got one early, which that sucked, but we just came on and we kept going, and that's just a way to put out a game, just like that.
And can you walk us through those goals there, the PK and then that one at the end?
Yeah, I mean, I love taking penalties, and when I can go up there and do it, I'm always going to do it. The second one, I was just in the right place at the right time. It just fell to me, and honestly, I thought I was going to hit it over, but I'm a goal scorer at heart, you know.
And I have to ask, why the windmill celebration?
I have no clue. You know, I was just trying to get everybody pumped up, and it just took off from there. They made a button, and I might as well keep going, right?
Everyone loves it. Thanks, Seb.
Thanks.
Neil, back to you.
Thank you very much, Lindsay. The windmill from Seb Harris, delivering the power tonight for Detroit City. And a 5-1 victory over Dakota Fusion FC here in the 2017 NPSL playoffs, brought to you by Miter. So we know Detroit City is moving on. There's a look at the bracket, and that is set in stone. Mr. John Krieger, Ann Arbor and Dayton on one side, Duluth and Detroit City on the other side. We don't know the location, but we know who the combatants will be. 180 minutes, and we will have a champion.
And that's going to be a good weekend of soccer. You know, wherever it's held, and there's a better than average chance it will be held somewhere in Michigan. We hope it's here. It's going to be some great football on both sides, and City, and you know, you heard Ben Pierman mention Klaus DeBoer and his scouting. I think he was key to City being able to shut off Jay Johnson and Dakota Fusion, and he will certainly scout Duluth as well. And you know what? Duluth will have to come in and try to do the same, but I put my money on Mr. DeBoer for what he's able to do. And look at the shots of those fans as City go through the handshake line, Neil. Nobody's leaving. These players and these fans don't want to leave each other, and now they're talking to Ben Pierman.
Let's take a look at the stats and the numbers and all the particulars from tonight's dominating 5-1 victory for Detroit City FC. And John, I know you're a big shots on goal guy, but you look at that shots number, 22-3, 13-3 edge in terms of shots on goal, 10 corners to 1. This result was very much justified here tonight.
Yeah, the scoreline flatters a little bit Dakota Fusion, because they got the goal early, and then it was all City after that. Worth noting, it's 5 unanswered goals, and at some point, when you get up over the 20 mark, even my avoidance and aversion to singling out shots as opposed to shot on goal goes away, because City manhandled the Fusion for most of the last 60 minutes of this football match, and it shows in the stats. The most important stat, however, 5-1.
And let's take a look at the highlights from tonight's match. As we said, Dakota Fusion actually got on the board first. There was some early magic from Sean Lawson as he sent one off the crossbar. But Cyrus Sadie and company would be denied early, but they wouldn't be denied forever. Dakota Fusion did get the jump with the first goal. And as always, our match recap brought to you by Motor City Casino. And that was the shining moment today for Dakota Fusion when they took that 1-0 lead, but after that, the floodgates open. Sean Lawson got the party started, and Detroit City FC never stopped after that. Cyrus Sadie was taken down in the box, awarded a penalty, and the man of the match, Seb Harris, would step up and deliver with the right foot blast. That put Detroit City up by a score of 2-1. It was a lead they would never relinquish as the windmill makes another appearance from Seb Harris. And then Sean Lawson with the nifty look to Roddy Green. Roddy Green would also tickle the twine for Detroit City FC. And it was from that moment, Mr. Krieger, the horses were out of the barn.
Yeah, and then it became some cynical challenges there, as you see, that cynical challenge. And once you got to that point, it became, if you can't beat them up. And that's what happened. And City were able to withstand that, and we got a backflip from Sebi Harris.
And fans, make sure on Monday you look out for the U.S. Air Force weekend recap at DebtCityFC.com. You can make sure you don't miss anything from the NPSL Midwest this weekend, brought to you by AirForce.com. So Detroit City FC with a convincing win here tonight by the score of 5-1. It was a great atmosphere here tonight at Keyworth. Fans were fired up, everybody was ready to go, and offensively, Detroit City FC was ready to go as well. So for my broadcast partner John Krieger and our sideline reporter Lindsey Pearson, this is Neil Rule reminding you one final time, Detroit City FC with a 5-1 victory. See you next weekend. Well, see you later.